Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication.
Give us a call now at 503-588-6444 with your medical cannabis related question, comment, curse, or kudo, or about the organization. Mercy TV Live is a action item of Mercy, the Medical Cannabis Resource Center, pioneering common sense compassion concerning medical cannabis here in Oregon, across America, and around the world. Greetings. My name is Perry, and along with Sam, we'll be hosting this segment of Mercy TV Live. Got a number of items to talk about tonight. PTSD was just added to the list of qualifying conditions. What passes for dispensaries here in Oregon has come online here in the 1st of March, and many other issues affecting folks in the medical cannabis community. Again, both here in Oregon, as it is going across America, and we're getting contacts from around the world on a regular basis as well. Folks can visit our website, mercycenters.org, for more information and examples of the scope of Mercy's network concerning medical cannabis. As we said before, PTSD was recently added to the list of qualifying conditions, and we have someone here with us this evening to speak with some authority on the issue. I misspoke earlier when I said my co-host. His name is actually Bud Nugsy, citizen activist, and also a veteran. And so we wanted to have Sam here and talk about veterans and how PTSD affects them. Do you have a number of any folks that you've served with or yourself as affected with PTSD? Have you?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You did miss breakdancer though. I'm a hell of a breakdancer.
Oh, okay, okay. Make sure we get that up here during the show. Hopefully, we can get an example even.
Right.
Some showing that there.
We got enough time.
Okay.
It's cannabis. It's I believe it makes the neurons too lazy to fire. Honestly, you just don't care. That's why you know the establishment really kind of hates it. They don't want anything mind expanding. They don't want you to not care. They want you to feel all kinds of anxiety to accept things the way they are, to be working poor and be happy about it, or at least not complain about it. No, they don't want any mind expansion. They don't want you to feel at ease or any peace, and they've probably got a vested interest in prohibition, more than likely.
I would,
it's big money, big money.
In those cases where we've seen folks having trouble with their concurrent opiate use, you have to ask if the opiate salesman is anywhere in the loop on that, you know.
And study after study shows you, if anything, you use less pharmaceuticals with cannabis, far less. And the pharmaceutical company doesn't like that.
No.
They don't like the fact you could grow it in your backyard. I was taking 9 pills a day and throwing them up typically, and I don't need them.
Excellent.
I get something that grows in nature, something that's available to all of us. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's a recurring story that we hear, that folks are able to reduce their pharmaceutical use, in some cases down to absolute zero. Yeah.
We have a phone call in a second.
Okay, go ahead, caller.
Hello, I just have a question about PTSD and medical cannabis. I'm trying to get more information on it.
Yes?
Can you help me find some information or resources or any links that might be able to help me with that, and doctors that might be able to help?
Well, PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, is one of the qualifying conditions now with the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program. So to get your card or authorization for it, you have your primary care physician, your doctor, sign the attending physician statement and check mark the box PTSD. And that's pretty much the process there. If your regular doc won't sign, then there's a little more work involved.
And then I would take that to the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program.
You'd send that in along with your registration form and your registration fees. And when you do, you make sure you send a copy of your ID and keep copies of the whole submission, sending it certified mail, and keeping a copy of the certified mail receipt. Because it, yes.
A place I can find the information on the fees and all that.
Yes, all that information is available on our website at mercycenters.org. Click on the OMA tab, and there it has the forms that are necessary and the fee schedule, including the reduced fee schedule, which was also changed this year. It is now $50 for OHP registrants and $50 for food stamp folks.
And then I have a question on the OMMP meetings. Is the public allowed to attend?
Yes, that's open to the public. Again, visit our website, mercycenters.org, and follow the links concerning the OMMP meetings. And there's a way to subscribe to receive emails from them concerning when meetings are happening.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you for calling. Very good questions there.
All right.
Yeah, folks should be aware that there was the fee change. Another thing concerning veterans is there's a move on to offer a reduced fee for veterans.
Nice.
Currently, it's for 100% disabled veterans, and some folks are working on that to say, hey, it should be any veteran.
That's good.
So that is contained in Senate Bill, or I think it's House Bill 4110. There's also some other bills currently going through the Oregon State Legislature. There's a 1531, which is going to ban dispensaries or something to that effect. That's a bad one. You want to call your representatives, the senators, and tell them to vote no on the anti-medical cannabis bills and yes on the pro-medical cannabis bills. Hopefully we'll also, out of this, we'll have a referendum to allow legalization on the ballot in 2014.
No.
So that's something to look forward to there.
As long as it doesn't have the pitfalls that Washington faces.
Yeah, to maintain the, it should be more like Colorado, so individuals can grow.
Like the sham DUIs and.
Yeah, that's a pretty.
When they're getting medical completely, it's so they can sever the recreational head later. It's just one head. Although you got to lie and use false statistics to do this. It's not the first time we've seen it.
Yeah, it's we've seen a lot of reefer madness here recently, especially during this period where counties and cities are seeking to ban dispensaries, as they're referred to, although
Marion
that's
County.
something of a misnomer. Yeah, Marion County, especially, the county commissioner got a real angst about us there.
Even though 80% of Oregonians approve of medical cannabis.
Yeah, we've had our highest ratings ever on that issue. But that doesn't matter. The facts don't matter. They keep putting out headlines about children who've consumed brownies and cookies, the medibles.
Right.
They've had to be rushed to the hospital. It's been a terrible thing, and we're just going to see more of this if we don't get rid of the program in Oregon especially, like it never happened before and all that stuff. The important thing to point out here is no one has ever died from it. In all these cases, the people were fine. There was no permanent damage except from the trauma of having their stomach pumped and someone trying to give them a blood transfusion or some nonsense.
Right.
You know, yeah. The stormtroopers coming in and taking them like that.
Putting a gun in your face.
So it's a
Yeah.
Please don't play with the microphone cord.
oh, it's thing in the thing there. So it's important for folks to contact their representative and make sure the truth of the matter gets to them, and so we don't have a continuation of this reefer madness. And we've got a lot of nonsense that we're having to respond to these days. There's the story of the police chief of Baltimore, Maryland, testifying before the Maryland State Legislature and quoting a story about 37 people dying on the first day of legalization in Colorado.
Right.
Oh my God, Well, the truth of the matter was that was a hoax story. It was a satire. And as anyone with common sense would know, and that's why they did it so extreme. But that just goes to show that prohibition can say whatever they want without fear of repercussion, retaliation, you know. In this case, the guy was ridiculed, but that didn't slow his protractors down at all. They kept trying to spin it that, well, he meant well, you know, that could happen, you know, all these other things other than the fact of, you know, come on, you know, why are we continuing a policy based on sound outrageous lies as this? So,
he's
you know.
blissfully ignorant. You know, he makes his living, his livelihood off of prohibition. Yeah, if you're making your living off of prohibition, you would gladly buy that garbage or spew that garbage.
Right. You know, the multiple ways they're making profit off it there.
Right.
There's the sheriffs and all.
Prison Inc.
Right.
We
Rehab Inc. now.
imprison more of our citizens per capita than any dictatorship on earth. And that's just the facts. It's mostly drugs, and that's mostly cannabis growers. They don't want to see that go away. They've got a vested interest in that.
Yep, and that civil war on that segment of society.
I think they're truly afraid of hemp because of all the promise that offers. Cannabis really just affects the like Prison Inc. and the pharmaceutical companies.
Right, the police agencies, those are all part of that recreational side. With the medical, you have those and Big Pharma.
They'll drive right by a violent crime to go and bust somebody that's growing weed because they're going to confiscate their house, their bank account, their car. There's just no incentive to concentrate on violent crime.
To go after the other criminal classes, yeah.
The actual crimes where there's actual victims, there's just no financial incentive for them. So
Well, so we have to give them that incentive, you know. Another thing that's happening during the 2014 in November, they'll be voting on levies. They'll be voting on tax increases and everything. 2 years ago, I think 4 years ago, Lane County put out a big full-page ad about how they weren't going to reinforce certain crimes like assault and breaking and entering and all this other stuff. And unless they got even more money, you know. And I said that was outrageous.
I read in the Cannabis Connection one time a woman called 911, an intruder. And they were crying because there weren't enough sheriffs available. The very next day, every fucking sheriff in the county, in the region, participated in busing a perfectly legal dispensary.
Yep, a whole series of them. Yeah. That was an outrageous scenario there, where some 78 agents from 18 agencies descended on, I think it was about a half dozen dispensaries, all calm local people. They weren't going anywhere. There was no need for this show of force. The
rise of the militant cop, it just makes me sick. I wish I miss Andy Griffith and Barney Fife, you know, people that could practice common sense and discretion, that were allowed to do that. And I miss a time when the truth wasn't illicit.
Yeah.
It's illicit. It's, you know, it can't be tolerated. Not the truth, no, not science.
So it's up to us to get it out, folks. Up to you, too. So tell your friends and neighbors, make sure they come by, watch the show here. We get all these things. I mean, because what you were saying earlier about the hemp, that's true, you know. Recreational... the war on the recreational's got these many agencies. You know, you throw in medical, it's got all them and Big Pharma. But with hemp, it's all those and big oil and big textile and big paper. Although paper is print is dead, they say.
Just like it was when it was prohibited in the first place.
Right. So that's you know, that's the big money, as it were, in keeping it illegal. So. You know, I'd like to see that happen in Oregon. We've got legislation passed, and I think there was something in the Farm Bill, the federal Farm Bill, to allow hemp to be produced by the states if they so.
Yeah, it's going to be research at this point, I believe.
Just for research? But even so, let's get that hemp crop planted, forward. You know, get Oregon at the front line of being a hemp producer. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I think Oregon's got the right climate and everything for it. They got the right farming community for it. I think they're progressive enough. You know, we've been ahead of that on the medical. I think it's a decent program compared to other states there.
Right. I do too. If it were the will of the people, of the electorate, there'd be no problem. But they're usurping our will. They're taking every opportunity. They're not following what's in our best interest. Just basically the best interest of the wealthy and the established and the entrenched. And
Special interest, yeah.
right.
Seem to profit from their every move at all the levels there.
Right.
Cut benefits of this group, that group. You know, all the veterans again getting their benefits cut.
They got caught with 400 tons of cocaine. CIA plane just fell out of the sky. Where's it going? U.S.
Uh-huh.
You know, any brilliant decision, man, knows it's you know, why finance both sides of the war. Whoops.
Careful now. Yeah, the case of the big banking institution that got caught doing some $9 billion worth of drug deal, illegal drug money laundering. At least that's what they got caught with, mind you. And they got a slap on the wrist, you know, just a couple of $1 million fine, which wasn't even a day's worth of profits for these big bank guys. Nobody went to jail. Nobody really suffered or lost, and especially in terms of little Joe, Jane citizen on the street, got popped with a fraction of
Right.
you know, drugs for whatever reason, you know.
No one has been indicted for that whole financial collapse, that whole
No.
ruse,
Mm-hmm.
where the wealthy just bilked the taxpayer, and
Right.
no one's been indicted, not one person.
The higher the crime,
Yeah.
the more you're likely to
Their
get away with it.
priorities,
you know.
there it is, right there, growing weed.
But yeah, we're setting a new record. This Obama administration set a new record for the medical marijuana facility busts, for the number of raids, for the
Right.
amount of money spent on making war on medical marijuana. So that needs to be pointed out. That needs to be, especially in hard times here, we're cutting these, you know, aid to this and that.
For a war on nature.
A natural product, a natural,
Right,
benign, safe, effective.
right. All
You
the
know,
above.
works for nobody when nothing else works. Like Sam was saying, or Bugsy, excuse me.
Either.
On that, you know, that you know, got rid of all those pharmaceuticals, you know, for your
Right.
because of cannabis. You know, in Europe, they're using it for addiction treatments. Folks are getting off,
yeah.
you know, heroin, cocaine,
Research,
methadone.
after research shows, yeah, you get kick. Drugs that are truly destructive, highly addictive. You know, not the hype. Physically addictive,
Mm-hmm.
and cannabis helps you get off those. It's a shame. Got people like Senator Mitch McConnell from Kentucky getting up there saying, "It will kill you." This is a senator, and he's that fucking.
Well, yeah, and it wouldn't be so bad if they weren't doing it in testimony before Senate hearings, where
Right.
you know you're supposed to be a quote expert, you know,
I know,
and
like a police chief.
exactly, you know.
37 people died opening day in Colorado. Okay.
But the thing is, there's no
He can be that easily duped.
Yeah.
I don't want him serving me.
no. You know, that's either incompetence or outrageous lying. In either case,
Right.
you don't want the person there.
No,
you know,
you don't.
kind of excessive weasel. You know, the bottom line on it is that cannabis prohibition has killed more people, more children, than cannabis has, and that's only going to go, you know, be more the longer we would let it go on. And you know, when put in that perspective, it's hard to, you know, think about what kind of Nazi monster would still want to keep on with this thing, really, when, you know, knowing that it's killing more kids than the thing you're trying to save them from.
It's filling their pockets. That's all they care about.
It was somebody else's kid, usually, too.
Right.
You know, it's a kid of a neighborhood that they don't think too much of. That
Class
needs
warfare,
to be,
you bet.
you know.
You bet.
So, hey, all these things and more can be prevented with cannabis law reform.
I'm sure that's
a
why
healthy
70% of the prisoners in prison are black, even though they represent only 20% of the population.
Yeah, and
It's
certainly
class warfare, without a doubt.
a less of a use than the white
It's just more palatable.
users, you know.
Yeah, it's just more palatable.
Every scientific study is done. It's been like 40% of use among the people of color, with it's more like 50% amongst the
Right. It's not
people
like
of
they
non-color,
use
you know, so.
consume more
So
cannabis.
they're actually using less, but there's such a higher rate of arrest. What the hell's up with that? Well, gee, you just go through that neighborhood, they're pulling people over like that.
Right.
And dole, that's the kind of results you get on
They
that
don't
shit.
appear to have the means to defend themselves. I mean, just like in nature, any predator is going to avoid that.
Yeah, the ones that have the attorneys are
Right,
likely
right.
to know their
Or
rights
or
and
you
laws.
might get the perception that they could afford one. You bet.
Yeah, profiling at its worst. So, make a difference, folks. Register, vote, and get everybody you know to do so also. And this is the key issue that you want to query the folks running for office on. Every official at every level, from dog catcher on up, this is the way to identify the politicians, the special interest serving weasels. That's really the cause effecte.
This corporate
country here.
spokesman.
Yeah. Or is it a leader? The people are going to take the initiative on this, do the right thing, and see it gone through there. That's a good way to tell, because like I said, you got folks quoting these irresponsibly nonsensical stories here.
Yeah, intentional parodies, and they're too ignorant to figure that out.
Geez, you want that person at the,
No,
at the
I don't.
helm of the ship of state?
But that's who's
Yeah,
been
so-
there. That's who's been there.
Well, let's make a change. Let's make a difference, I know that we run the risk that some folks, some of these critters, are going to say they're for cannabis law reform, and then once they get there, just do the opposite.
Oh, yeah.
I know we have a...
At the federal level, yeah.
Yeah, especially they like to do that, but we have to stay the course. We're making a big difference. We're leading in polls now. We're over the 50% mark. It's 55, 56 in the latest polls done on the
Right.
legalization. Medical still up there in the 70s. Medical cannabis received a whopping 82% approval rating in Florida, where they're struggling to get their initiative on the ballot there. They finally waded past the Attorney General, who tried to screw with it every way possible, and then finally now they're out collecting signatures. So hopefully they can get that done on the ballot. People voted in, and they won't screw with this election like they have with others. Florida notorious for that matter.
It's funny to note that the UN has threatened the U.S. over, they're the same. It's headquartered in the U.S. It's all the same. It's in the interest of the wealthy. But they've threatened the U.S. over Colorado and Washington legalizing. And what is this? This law is infallible? No law. There are laws that are not subject to change. The majority of the electorate in a democratic society cannot determine their own future.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
How dare you let those people decide what they want to do?
Right.
You should punish those peasants.
The UN. Who needs them?
That definitely was a memo from the DEA that worked its way up there.
Right.
Hey, you better do this, or we can't be responsible for what
Right.
happens.
They don't want you defending your way of life either. They're gunning for the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, freedom of speech. They've
Yeah.
pretty much eliminated the Fourth and Fifth Amendments, all in the interest of safety. In a world so chaotic that they caused, and now they're going to reap the benefits of it.
Unless, folks, register, vote, and get everybody they know to do so also. Spread the word. And while you're at it, spread the word about PTSD being added to the list of qualifying conditions. Medical marijuana facilities now are going to be coming online here in Oregon. We know that a number of folks, about 280 plus, have applied. There was a meeting here recently in which Tom Burns, head of the medical marijuana facility program, was there talking about the application process, how it was going and so forth. I don't remember if he said an exact time frame for applications to be approved, but he did talk about some of the things that was going on with it. A lot of folks that applied for a medical marijuana facility permit didn't check their radius within a school, and there's a very neat tool there that would show you whether or not the place that you were looking to have it was in radius. So folks, really need to take a closer look at that site when they're applying. Make sure you got all your P's and Q's there, because the $500 application fee is a non-refundable, so you don't want to make any mistakes if at all possible on that. In addition to that, there's a $3,500 registration fee, and that's when you've cleared all those zones and everything and submitted all the appropriate forms and paid your fees. Then you get your license, you open for biz. What happens is that it's a place for excess, folks with excess, cardholders, to bring their medicine there and be reimbursed for it. And then cardholders can go and reimburse the facility to pick up medicine. One thing is it's going to allow a delivery process, if you will. As long as all the money is exchanged inside the facility. Folks, for example, could go to their site, pay by credit card, the facility, put money there, or mail the facility a check, and then have someone go pick up the medicine for them and bring that to them.
Right.
That person would need to be a card holder, mind you, but that would all be perfectly legal under the law here now. So it is at least going to enable that. Not quite the system we were hoping for, but better than nothing.
Right.
Because patients are having a hard time getting medicine. It's not easy.
I fully expect recreational in Oregon this year. Hopefully without the same pitfalls that the state of Washington have.
Yeah.
Colorado's going along pretty smooth, set to make $100 million in tax revenue this year.
That's a little bit of money there.
Yeah.
That's you got a couple of those, and by God, you're talking some real money there.
Right. And think of the money they're saving, you know, by not enforcing prohibition. You got
True.
a couple of that in there too.
Usually it's about half as much on the previous estimates we've seen.
Soon they'll be fixing roads and bridges, and
God, that'd be nice.
right.
Well, they should be doing some of that right now. I mean, there's several $1 million going out of the medical marijuana program to pay for a number of programs. Unfortunately, it's not roads and bridges or education.
No,
like, that
education's
needs the
last.
stuff, the support.
Police, prisons, number one.
Yeah.
Education, very last. That's their priorities.
And to change the priorities, we need to change the, quote, leadership there. So, folks, visit our website, mercycenters.org. We've got more information on the bills that are happening, other petitions they're gathering signatures for. There's 2 or 3 groups that are going to try to get the legalization on the ballot. And we'll keep you posted on these and all the other actions, certainly at the national level, too. Any bills that might become available, we'll certainly let folks know.
It might lighten up now that it's legal in Washington, D.C., or at least it's not criminalized. So.
Yeah, well, they actually have dispensaries
Right.
in Washington, D.C. And, yeah, they recently voted to decriminalize it, making it, what, a $25 fine
Right.
now?
So, some of the lowest in the nation.
So those are good signs in our common sense happening in our nation's capital. It bodes well for the rest of the nation. Find out about more about what else is happening around the nation and the world. Visit our website at mercycenters.org. Stop on by our office, 1745 Capitol Street Northeast. Monday through Friday, noon to 6, we'll be there with newsletters and the Oregon Cannabis Connection, more literature to help folks with all this information and more. Clinics, other resources around the state. Check it out and more. And thanks, Buds Nugsy, for being with us here and talking. We'll see you all folks out there next time on Mercy TV Live.
Delighted. Good night.
You want to say anything before I turn it off?
Good night. God bless you all, every single one of you.